Well, I think it goes back to a long time ago in the late 50s and the early 60s when I was studying in the yeshiva in Jerusalem, and I used to study very concentratedly. I used to sleep every 2 days just for 4 or 5 hours. And then I had burnout every year. So every year I used to go off to just to revitalize myself. And as a consequence, I got some consecutive years to India. On one of those occasions, I got to Nepal and stayed in Kathmandu. Kathmandu for me was an example of paradise. It was the people were friendly, the air was pristine clear, the river Bagmati, you could drink from it directly, the mountains of the Himalayas in the background were very visible. And I thought that if I wouldn't live in Israel, and if there wasn't a question of living in a Jewish framework, I would love to live in Nepal, in Kathmandu. I was even offered a job there. But I came back about 10 years ago in a meeting that was arranged by an organization called ARC, Alliance of Religions for Conservation, of which I was a member, in which there were representatives of 14 different religions. I represented Judaism. And I found that the city had fallen into absolute chaos. You couldn't see the mountains anymore because you were surrounded by smoke. People walked around wearing masks over their mouths. My wife bought a pashmina to cover herself up, and it smelled of kerosene. The river Bagmati had turned into a cesspool, sewer. And I saw what it means to pollute paradise. Obviously, you're allowed to benefit from nature, but you must not destroy nature. You must preserve it. And I think that is basically the underlying principles of what we would call modern conservation and ecology. And I think that the basis for our contemporary notions are actually based very clearly in the Bible and in the subsequent interpretations of the Bible. And there's a very famous story of a certain rabbi who saw an old man planting a carrot tree. And he said to him, "You're planting a carrot tree, you know that you won't get carrots for another 70 years. And he said, "Well, my forefathers planted carrot trees so that I could benefit. I'm planting a carrot tree so that my grandchildren, great-grandchildren will benefit." And that is, I think, the way we have to think. We have to think that we're not just living our lives for ourselves and for our own comfort, but we are leaving a heritage for future generations that should also be able to live in comfort and in good health.